Hello, everyone, and welcome to Animal Advocates Radio Voices Carry for Animals, number 484 shows and counting this evening. And I want to welcome everyone aboard, and I hope you enjoy the show and that each and every one of you will go out there and take action, okay? And we will do it because this is what it takes, okay? And it takes all of us coming together as one and be the voices for the animals and in each and every way because they need us, okay? So um, this is what it's going to take. So everyone, I'm just going to go over a couple things before we do get started, and we will go over there.
Hey Debbie,
Hello, how are
how are
you?
you? Good. How are you?
All right. Welcome aboard, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. And we got some music going on, and we got. I just want to go over a couple of things before we do get started. Everyone in the chat room, thank you for joining in again because this is awesome. I see Jeff's in there and Pina and hello to Sue Bloom and Darla. She's in there. And I just want to tell everyone that's out there listening on the web, we are in the chat room. So if you would like to join us, because you can only listen to the podcast from the web, and you can join us by going, because this is required by Podbean, podcast app and player, to start up a free account. And that's voices carry for animals.podbean.com. And what you'll do is follow and subscribe on that on my podcast, and you're in on that end of it, okay? And then come over to the Podbean podcast and player. It's a free download, either from Google Play or Apple Store. Download it and then follow Voices Carry for Animals podcast. And you're in, and you can speak on air to the guest, and also you can send messages in the live chat room. This live chat room is awesome, everyone. So you got to check it out. Spread the word out there. Like I said, it is coming live from the web also. So whatever you can do, we want to come over here and join in. You can, okay, and you're more than welcome to. My name is Debbie Dahmer, aka Mama Bear, and Mama Bear is on the air because she really does care, everyone. And all these shows are live and archived, and you can always go and check them out at the voices carry for animals.podbean.com and also podserve.fm, Animal Advocates Radio. There's so many ways to listen to these shows because they're all archived. And, we can listen and share 24/7. Okay. So that's, go from there. And then on my website, it's coming live also. So if you want to check it out on there, you subscribe free, and that's voicescarryforanimals.com. And once this show is downloaded and edited, and it will be published all over the place, everyone, like 24 sites. And I got two YouTube channels, Voices Carry for Animals podcast on there to be a subscriber, and also Animal Advocates Radio um, podcast on there, so you could be a subscriber there also. But after this is all done, and the show's over, and I publish it, it will be on iHeartRadio. And if you're, if you follow or a member on them, you can also go in there and make comments and everything. So Apple Podcast, Spotify, podparadise.com. We got playerfm.com. We can also go podbay.fm. We got Rephonic, Boomplay. read these lists. Castro, we got Castbox, Pocket Cast, Pod Chaser. Um, we got Listen Notes that's going to go on. Podcast Addict, Audible. I mean, this list is huge. So there's like 27 of them that it's going out to, and this is just wonderful. And to those that don't know, Blog Talk Radio closed down January the 31st, and I got it together and got a new podcast because I was not shutting down Voices Carry for Animals podcast because I am relentless, optimistic, and proactive. I'm going to keep these shows going, okay? And 484 of them this evening, and in a couple of weeks, we'll be at I'll be at my 11 years for Voices Carry for Animals, which originated on TS Radio Network. Marty Oakley back in June of 2014. She was my super team player and friend, and sadly she passed away April 1st of 2023. I wish she could see all this, what's going on with Voices Care for Animals, but may she rest in peace. And she helped me to get Animal Advocates Radio on Blog Talk Radio together, March of 2018 up to January of 2025. And I just started on this Podbean podcast app in February 20th. So this is just great news, everyone, and going to keep going. And I just want to go over, I want to do a 360 here. World Elder Abuse Awareness Day is June the 15th, okay? And that is on a Sunday. And this has been going on since 2006, and it needs a big, attention on this because National Center on Elder Abuse reported that over 5 million, and that's not what this is what's recorded, elderly get abused, neglected, or exploited a year. Everyone, this is just so alarming. It's hurtful. These elderly deserve better. So please wear purple on that day. And I have a Help Stop Elder Abuse support group on Facebook. I got almost 4,700 members. Please join us, and all the animal advocates that has joined that too. A big shout out to all of you because you're multitasking, and that's what I do too. Okay, so remember that on June 15th, on a Sunday, World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. Let's give our elders some, attention, what they deserve. Let's help stop elder abuse, not let it prevail, because 5 million a year is a lot, and it needs to be stopped, okay? So please do your part. But I'm going to bring my guest on. I'm going to bring in, her name is Pina. And Pina, we've been in contact, and it's been awesome. And I
Yes.
appreciate all you do. Oh my goodness. And this story is so sad about Destiny. But you want to go ahead and, um,
Yes.
I know you guys have been through so much, so go ahead and
Yes.
tell the.
It's been a long process, but first I want to thank you, Debbie, for having us on the show and for everything that you do, because you're a wealth of information and you really get the word out there. And I know you've sent me some valuable information as well. So I want to thank you, first and foremost, because you've been awesome. You're one of the few people that have responded back to me. So let me put it to you that way. Um,
Oh, come
and I've
on.
reached,
That's
yeah,
not right.
no, I'm serious. I'm serious, and I've reached out to a ton of people. A lot of people. News medias, newspapers, everybody. So, and other like advocate groups and stuff. And you and one other person got back to me. So again, I thank you for that. So,
Hey, you're so
um,
welcome. I'm a team player, I believe in teamwork all the way. And whatever
yep.
it takes to help these animals out, to get justice, to live in freedom, and to, live in comfort and peace. And I mean, it's not asking for much. We just got to stop these abusers and get stiffer
Yep.
laws and harsher penalties. Because getting a slap on the wrist is not right. It just lets it prevail, gives them a green light to keep going. And we
It,
want to give them the red light and say, stop right here. That's not right. Yep.
exactly, exactly. And like you said, it's going to take a village, and it is going to take a village. So we're going to need all the help and support in order to make change. So we're going to need a lot of people to get behind us. So, because Destiny's story, it's heartbreaking. I hope I don't get emotional because I probably will. Um,
It's
but
sad. It's so sad and heartbreaking. I mean, I was
yeah,
reading it and I'm passing that around to, wherever I can to get the signatures. Everyone take your time and, sign this petition and share it. The more signatures
yep,
there is, the better and the stronger we become and the faster the changes. I mean,
yep.
we only wish we could bring back Destiny, but this, we want to know she didn't die in vain and do something about it, not let it keep going and hear these horrific stories.
And you hear the stories every day. I mean, every day. I mean, my husband and I, we see these stories, all over the place of the abuse and the neglect. I mean, it's unbelievable. Actually, it's an epidemic that's going on in this country that needs to stop. Um, it's just sad, and heartbreaking. Um, but getting back to, Destiny's story. Well, actually, Holly messaged me. She's not going to be able to make the show. I guess she's got a lot going on at the kennel there. And my husband, unfortunately, he's working, so he's not going to be able to make it either. So it's just me tonight.
Oh,
So,
you're a newbie and you're by yourself.
yes,
So you're
exactly.
doing good so far there, Pina.
I'm doing it all by myself. So we're
Yep.
gonna do this. So well, basically, Destiny was she was 10 years old. She was malnourished, starving. She had advanced heartworm, positive, severe dental disease. She was bred time and time again. They sold her puppies for money. She had her breasts were so enlarged she was still lactating when we received her. Um, I mean, she smelled so bad that from not being bathed. Um, she had a tumor larger than a melon that was hanging between her legs. I mean, this thing was huge. Um, and then she also had a smaller tumor that was under her right arm, which it happened to turn out to be mast cell cancer.
Mm.
And she could hardly walk. So animal control was called out 6 times over a 2-year period, and they did nothing to help her. Nothing.
Whoa.
You can't tell me that tumor that large grew in a couple of days, because I'm actually this
Mm.
past January, animal control went out there, and that's when they first noticed the tumor, which I find that hard to believe, because if they've been called out over a 2-year period by neighbors, I mean, neighbors have repeatedly called, and that's just the 2 years on Destiny. I know they've called repeatedly several, you know, over the years about other dogs on that property. But for Destiny, it was, I guess, the last 2 years that they were called, and 6 times they came out and they did nothing. And it turns out that on February 20th, Paw Angels Inc., which is Holly's rescue, she rescued Destiny. And she took her from there, and they brought her to a vet um, to be seen. And then the very next day, on February 21st, they brought her to us. And it just so happens that we had rescued another dog, Peanut, back in November from Paw Angels Inc. And I was in touch with one of the volunteers, Katie, and that on February 20th, I happened to send her a picture of Peanut because I always, I would always send her pictures to let her know how he's doing and so on. So this particular morning, she's like, we're in desperate need of a foster. Do you think you could, foster this dog? And she sent me videos and pictures of what Destiny looked like, which I'm sure you've seen, very malnourished, neglected, starving. And she, so I said to her, I said, let me discuss it with my husband and I'll get back to you. So I talked to Jeff and Jeff's like, yeah, all right. It was only supposed to be for 2 weeks. And I said, okay, I promise it'll only be for 2 weeks. So they brought her to us on February 21st. And she was, I mean, bless her heart. With all that she had going on, she was just the sweetest, most loving, caring. I mean, after all that she's been through, she still had like all that love. But when we got her, she was so sad and withdrawn. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so heartbreaking. How could anybody do this to this baby? So we got her in our care, and after 2 days, Jeff and I decided that we were going to adopt her because we just fell head over heels in love with her because she was the most precious thing. And actually, her and Jeff, my husband, they had a special bond. I don't know what it was, but the way she looked at him and she adored him and she followed him like everywhere, it was just amazing to see. But we took her in. We cared for her. Of course, we have other animals in the home, not just Peanut. We have actually 4 other dogs now. We just recently adopted another one just a couple days ago. So, and all of our dogs are rescues. So, we had to take care of her. She was on medications, that mast cell tumor. When we got her, it just started getting worse. And, we were trying like all sorts of different things, for her. I mean, the way she ate, she was starving to death. And I would give her food until finally, after a few days, she finally got used to being fed. She didn't have to wonder where her food was coming from. So, so we just, took care of her. But like I said, her tumor was getting worse, and we kept in contact with Holly from Paw Angels, and it got to the point where it was bleeding so bad that my husband and I we drove her to a vet in Tennessee because that's who I guess Holly was affiliated with. And we brought her there and we met with the doctor and she was bleeding. They weren't sure whether they could stop the bleeding or not. So they said that we can leave her, overnight. They had the surgeon on the phone and so on. And they would get her as comfortable as possible. And hopefully the next day when the team came in, they would take a look at it and then perform surgery, the next day. So, but I believe when Holly originally took Destiny to the vet and they saw her, I think one of the vet techs had to walk away because she was in tears just looking at her condition, at what she looked like. And we had 2 vets tell us that not to go ahead with the surgery. They wanted us to take her home for a couple days, give her a few good meals, and then euthanize her. My husband and I, along with Holly, were like, there's no way that, this dog has been through hell already. She's lived through hell, with what she's went through. we at least wanted to give her a fighting chance. So, so we went ahead and we decided no matter what that we were going to do the surgery or have her, have the surgery done. The doctors warned us that there was a possibility that she wouldn't make it through the surgery, but we knew that we had to try. That was, we had to give her that chance to at least make it, and try to survive. I mean, she was a fighter up until this point. We were going to continue to fight for her. So they went ahead with the surgery, and she made it through the surgery, no problem. And actually, my husband and I, that night after surgery, we went up to visit her. And that dog was so resilient that as soon as she saw us, she just came out of surgery and she was trying to get up to walk over to us, to my husband and I, which was shocking because she just came out of surgery. I didn't expect her to be that resilient, and she was. So the next day, we ended up picking her up and bringing her home. And we brought her home, and she was fine for about a week. But I guess with the tumor and where it was located, they didn't have enough skin there, so they tried to sew it up the best that they could, the incision. And so it was kind of, I guess, kind of thin, so it, it was just in an awkward position, because especially with her walking and stuff like that. So it was really hard to, keep it closed. And the incision was bleeding. It kept bleeding. So I guess about a week later, it got to the point that it continued, to bleed. And we didn't know what to do. So we ended up bringing her to another vet. And, they tried to do like a staple on her, and that didn't work. And they said that, she was probably going to bleed out. So um, then we're like, is there another vet nearby, like a more, I guess, critical care, type of vet? So they recommended us to another vet, which I believe was like an hour away or close to it. So my husband and I got her in the car and we brought her to the specialty vet, and they got her in there, and she was bleeding, and they're like, there's nothing that they can do to stop the bleeding. And she's like, we could give a blood transfusion. And we're like, okay, we're at this point, along with Holly, my husband, the three of us, we're like, we're going to try and do whatever we can to save her. So they're like, we can do a blood transfusion, and then we can wait till the surgical team comes in the morning, and they can take a look at her. They may not even want to operate, they said. And then in another breath, the vet's like, well, let me see how many vials I have on hand first. And this took me for a loop when she came back, because when she came back, she's like, we only have one unit left. And this is her exact words, what she said, that she's like, we don't want to use it on Destiny because she's going to die anyway. Okay. That they wanted to save it for a more healthier dog. Okay. That,
Mm.
yeah. So I'm taken back by this, because I'm like, no, I'm like, we need to do whatever we can to save this dog, to at least give her a chance, and, but they gave us no choice but to euthanize her. And, and that's another thing that I have with the vet, because I'm like, you're a vet, you're supposed to save lives. I mean, it's not like it was coming out of, your pocket. I mean, Holly and Paw Angels and, my husband and I, we were willing to do whatever it took to save her. So I didn't think that was right that they didn't want to use that unit on Destiny, you know.
Mm.
So they gave us no choice but to euthanize her. So we ended up putting her down that night. And
Whoa.
that was like the most, it was like the
Mm.
most devastating.
I bet. I mean,
Yeah. I'm so,
Pina, you and Jeff went through everything to help her. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And
I
she
mean,
was in the best, loving, caring hands possible. And I know how you feel, and I know because losing a loved one or a furry loved one or whatever, it is never easy. And they are, when they come in our homes and they live there, they are part of the family and everything. And what you went through is totally unacceptable. I mean,
yeah.
it's so injustice. Destiny or any pet out there does not deserve this. They deserve all lives matter, including the animals, all of them.
Yep.
So we can't, just look the other way and just, forget about it because, we want justice for her.
Yep. And that's why I'm fighting, that's why we're fighting so hard because she deserves that much. She deserves that much. She I mean, I know at the end she knew what love and happiness was. I mean, everything that that dog has been through. When we got her, we only had her for 3 weeks, but she was the most precious, loving dog you'd ever want to meet. Like she was just so loving. Considering that all that she's been through. So it's just it just breaks my heart because I wish she would be here right now with the other dogs. And we didn't get that opportunity to do that with her. And that's what hurts too. So
Oh yeah, and there's that petition out there, everyone. I even got it
yes,
on my website. It's all over the place. And please join
yes,
Justice for Destiny support group on Facebook, okay? And Pina, I went through, last night and today, inviting more friends there to the group, to get more support because
yes.
the
No, I
more of us that
appreciate it.
come together and with the stronger we get and the faster the victories, okay? So please everyone sign the petition, pass it along. You pass it along X and
Yep,
Facebook and LinkedIn, you know,
I just posted it in the feed right here too. The link
great.
to sign the petition. Yep.
Yes, and thank you for putting this about this show tonight on the change.org updates, and that was so awesome of you guys to do that. And a big shout out to Jeff too, because I know it is never easy what you're doing, and it's, but you're fighting for justice, and that's
We
what it
are.
takes.
We are. And
Yes,
not only for Destiny, for Destiny, I mean for all animals,
exactly.
Um
Yes,
I mean
yes.
we just rescued, actually not the one that we just rescued a couple days ago, but a couple months ago we rescued another dog who was shot 3 times. Okay?
Mm,
He was literally shot 3 times and I'm like, how can anybody do that? He's the most sweetest, loving dog that you'd ever want to meet. So I don't understand. I mean, this abuse, this neglect, there's so much of it out there and it needs to stop. It really needs to stop. I mean, something needs to be done. And that's the
yes.
whole point of the petition. I mean, we need a lot more names than what we have. I mean, I'm thankful we have over 3,500 signatures right now, which is awesome. I mean, I thank everybody who signed that petition, which is great. But we're going to need a lot more in order to get things done. We definitely need a lot more signatures. So that's why it's important. And I've also been learning too, because I know Debbie, you sent me information, for federal,
Yes.
and and then actually the one other lady who I've been speaking with, her name is Penny Ellison. She's I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she's with the Animal Advocacy Academy, and she's been very helpful. And she's also put me in touch with Cindy Capella from Georgia State Director for Humane World for Animals. So this just happened yesterday, so I haven't been in touch with Cindy yet, but I plan to, get in touch with her. But Penny has been great, and she's been, telling me that federal is going to be a lot harder um, to get, that going state would be the way to go. Um, so, so we're, I don't know if I'm leaning, okay, maybe go for state first and then go to federal. You know what I mean? I guess
Yes,
it's baby steps, So
that's right.
let's get this law passed in Georgia first, and then we'll go from there. I also want to point out too that the Animal Legal Defense Fund, um, for they came out with a survey, an annual survey, and I just want to point out that Georgia ranks 45 out of 50 states. Okay. So this suggests that there's room for significant improvement in the state of Georgia.
Whoa.
Um, yes. So 45 out of 50.
45?
That's pretty sad.
That
Okay.
is disgusting.
Yes.
That is disgusting.
Yes. It is
Oh my
disgusting.
goodness.
And then I've also learned too, like the federal laws are more geared towards animals in agriculture, research, exhibitions, and wildlife. Um, so that's why I've been told like to focus more on state than federal. But again, like I said, it's something that needs to change in this country, not just, state. Everybody, I mean, Florida just passed a couple laws, which was awesome.
Yes.
Governor DeSantis, that's wonderful. I
Troopers, yeah,
wish,
Troopers Law and
yep,
Dexter's Law. Yes,
yep.
where that
I,
dog was left out there, where a hurricane was coming, tied to a tree, water up to his neck. I mean, and then state highway trooper adopted him. Isn't that awesome? And
yes,
they got a law together. So it got a lot of attention here in Florida. And Governor DeSantis, a big shout out to him because he
yep,
signed it. And
yep. No,
also
he's awesome.
Dexter's Law,
Yep.
where the dog was decapitated and everything. Oh my goodness, what kind of world do we live in?
Yeah, well, and that's
You
what I'm
know?
saying. There's so many
Whoa.
stories like that that are out there every day, every day. I mean, my husband's he's always on, looking, and he finds these stories and he's constantly sending them to me. And I mean, I'm at the point where I don't even want to look at them anymore because it's just so sickening and heartbreaking, to see these animals like that and how people treat them. I don't
It,
get it.
It's
I don't
terrible,
get it.
and there's zero excuses for it.
Yep.
I mean, they're helpless, defenseless, voiceless, and innocent, just like children and the elderly. Okay, they don't have a fighting chance without us fighting for their rights. And their rights should be granted, not violated or thrown. Kicked to the curb. I was
Yep.
bringing up elder abuse. What excuses is that? They're saying every year 5 million elderly get abused, neglected, or exploited. That's zero excuses for that.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
is a disgrace to the human race. Oh, so you're giving this report every year, but where are the changes at? Do we
Yep.
just sit there and ignore it? Just like I was on X while ago and in the news feed. Oh, Pina, it is terrible what's going on. I mean, from every angle, and I'm so glad. I mean, I got this podcast and I do, other things outside of it. I had been on Facebook groups and pages on X, but I'm looking at it, I'm like, what is going on? It's like, is the world falling off the deep end or something? These
Yep.
these innocent animals don't deserve this. Neither do the elderly, the children. They cannot. They don't have a voice, and we are their only hope
Yep.
for better
Exactly.
lives and futures. So we
It.
have to get this changed because
Yeah.
and I was looking up in 2019. You heard of the PACT Act, right? Did I bring that up to you? Where
No, I don't believe so.
it was the Preventing Animal Cruelty and Torture Act, which was signed by President Trump back in 2019. I
Yes,
had
actually,
several
you did.
shows.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Yes, and that's a federal bill, okay? And I'm just wondering how many states, because it's federal. I remember a 16-year-old girl started a petition, right? It got over it could be 900,000 signatures. She got co-sponsors and sponsors here in Florida. I had her on the radio, for like a short time, like 15 minutes, and I got hold of her father first. And I'm like, look, 16 years old, look what she started. I mean, look at this. But I look at him like, wait a minute, this bill went into effect in 2019. How is much of it is it enforced? You got me?
Right.
Because
Right.
animal cruelty is animal cruelty. Are they lessening the charges? What is going on here?
Right.
Because these animals need us.
Right.
I mean, they don't get a slap on the wrist when they're getting abused or neglected.
No.
It's not happening. And what they have to go through with, it needs to be stopped. Everyone, not let it
It does.
prevail.
And in
Yep.
Destiny's case too, she was failed also by the animal control director. He went out there, he saw the neglect and the abuse, and he did nothing to save her. He didn't take her out of that home. I mean, he could have taken her
Oh,
and very well call Holly, from Paw Angels and have her rescued her. And he failed to do that
he should
until.
have called the police. That's animal cruelty, you know?
Right. Well, and then actually,
Whoa.
the neighbors ended up calling animal control this one time, but they happened to be closed. So, since they were closed, then the police came out, and actually, we have the dash cam footage from that call. And the police, she walked around. She saw the dog was actually in the neighbor's yard. She can see that she was neglected. She can see that big thing, that big tumor between her legs. Um, and she ended up calling the animal control director on that call, and, he told her that he was, aware of the house. He's been called out there several times, so he was very familiar with the house, and the dog. Um, but they failed to do anything.
Mm-mm.
They didn't save her, until it was too late. And then, Holly ended up rescuing her, and they claimed that because she rescued her, that no charges would be brought against this family that neglected and abused her. Now how does that make any sense?
Whoa.
They gave them three warnings, okay, to get vet care, and nothing was done. They told them, oh yeah, we're going next week or whatever. But then Holly ended up rescuing her, I think on the 20th, and they were supposed to be taking her to the vet on the 21st. But the question is, well, what happened to the other two times before that? Why did they get three warnings? You know what I mean? They should have never gotten three warnings.
Mm-mm.
It should have been, they should have did something. And because they're saying that Holly rescued her, that they're not going to be bringing charges or nothing could be done, which I don't believe that to be true, because it's just like actually I spoke to Holly earlier today, and like she mentioned, she's like, it's just like having a child abuse. Would you give them three chances if it's child
No,
abuse?
definitely not.
Exactly. Exactly. So, you know, I mean, so she was failed, by animal control. I mean, by the police officer that came out, um, because they could have did something, and nothing was done. So it's just a case that fell through the cracks. I mean, we've also, I know Holly has, and I have myself reached out to Jessica Rock, the state's attorney's office. I've never received a response from her. I know Holly had some communication with her, but it just stopped, and we haven't heard anything else. So, I mean, if there's anybody out there that, write to your representatives, in your state, to get things done. Like, we have to make noise in order to be heard. We, like you said, Debbie, that it takes a village. So we all need to come together and we need to make noise, because the noise is what's going to be heard, and how we will get things done. The more noise you make, they're going to hear us. That we're
That's
not
right.
going away. We're not going away. You
That's
know.
right. Yeah, I
So,
agree totally because, like Mama Cat, she's a former guest and a good friend, and she always says strength in numbers, and it's so true. We are power in numbers, everyone.
yep,
Never think we're not. Never use your voice because the louder we bark, the more we're heard,
yep,
okay?
exactly. A
So,
lot of people are afraid to speak up or do something, but with these animals and the abuse and the neglect, and I mean the overcrowding and the spay and the neutering, I mean that's a whole nother show, but it's a big issue, but it's all connected. It's a big issue. I mean, there's a big problem, not only in Georgia, but in the US, and I mean, we have to do something. We have to come together, stick together, and get it done. We can't do this alone. It can't just be
no,
you or me, Debbie.
no, that's
We
right.
need everybody to come together to do something, to get it done. And like I said, and that's why, we're trying to push for Destiny's Law, and what we're trying to do with that, actually, it's on her petition, is, we want to enforce harsher penalties for animal abusers, ensure faster intervention when abuse is reported, require mandatory medical treatment for neglected animals, hold authorities accountable for acting on reports of abuse, hold
Yes,
animal shelter directors
yes,
and employees accountable. If they fail to act, they must face consequences, including termination, which is, in this case, that should have happened,
that's right. Yeah.
Um, and then
It's terrible.
establish a mandatory protocol for removing animals from neglectful owners, require immediate rescue of animals showing clear signs of abuse, dehydration, malnourishment, open wounds, lack of food or water, and increase funding for shelters and rescues, establish more shelters to accommodate rescued animals, and stop kill shelters. We need to stop the killing too, you know.
Yes, yes.
Um, so, and again, because that's a really, really bad thing that's going on, is, like I said, the overcrowding and the kill shelters, and so that's what we're trying to enforce in Destiny's Law. Um, and hopefully, get it passed. But like I said, it's going to take a lot to get it done. We're going to need a lot of people behind us and support. We need your
Teamwork.
support.
Yes, we
Yes.
need your support, everyone. Please spread the word. Join that group, Justice for Destiny on Facebook, and keep sharing. Like or mad or whatever is not going to bring no justice, okay? So sign the petition, please, and pass it along. Send it to other social media sites like I do. I have like 4 tabs up, okay? And I'm sending her share, and I have, I've been doing this a long time, so I call myself a pro at it because I do it so fast it makes my head spin. Okay,
Yeah.
because I want to get it out there, and I tag a lot. Just like on X, I tag I mean, at least 100 of them. Even and a big thank you to all that's listening for X and Facebook, my followers that's involved, and my Facebook friends, and the pages I admin. They're on all of them. Voices Carry for Animals podcast, Facebook page. Follow there. I wanted to show taking action. I use my personal page for advocacy. Okay, I stand up for the innocent, defenseless, helpless, voiceless. Okay, I mean, if I do that, I've done that from the beginning because I could get a lot on there. So if we want to, follow me or whatever, and please get in this group, Justice for Destiny, because Pina needs your help, and Jeff, and sorry, Jeff, you can't come on. I know you're busy right now, but we're thinking of you, okay? And my thoughts and prayers are out to both of you because this is so unacceptable what happened to her. I mean, they were being part of the ongoing problems, no solutions. And look
Yep.
where she's at, okay?
Yep.
And look where she's at. They could have done so much better in
They
helping
could
her.
have.
And they
Yep.
didn't. They ignored it. They more or less kicked her to the curb, like
Yep.
her
No.
life
No.
wasn't
Exactly.
meaningful, you know? And it's
Exactly.
and it's and it's sad. I mean, all animals matter to us. Don't you wish that all humans were like animals? Wouldn't this be a better place to live? I
Oh,
say yes.
absolutely. I mean, they
I
have that unconditional love, you know.
Yep,
I mean, they really do. It's just, it's just amazing. Like, these animals can be through so much, but they still have so much to give you,
that's right.
which is amazing, to me. I also posted the link for the Justice to Destiny page too, so that's in there. It's under Destiny 31225. I just posted it.
Oh,
So
great, great. And
yeah,
then,
yeah,
and you can also put a link to the show. I'll send it to you when I get it all done. And you could
yep,
place that on change.org so they could go ahead and listen to it too. It's going to get out there, 27 of them,
yep,
other podcast
yep.
websites, or YouTube channels. But hey, the more it's out there, the better, everyone. And you can share this show. You can go to, once I get it published tonight, you go back and listen to any of them. There's like 315 shows on there already, and that's not
Wow.
including the ones 163 that had on Marty Oakley TS Radio Network. And I have a tribute page, to her on my website, voicescarryforanimals.com, and also on Podbean, which is voicescarryforanimals.podbean.com. Podbean rocks, everyone. I'm so happy with them. I mean, it's just like this thing exploded, Pina, and it
Yep,
happened for a reason. Okay, almost 11 years and counting, because I'm not going to stop. So everyone, your voices really do matter. Your actions, with our voices, the animals will be heard. With our actions, the animals will seek justice. Okay, just remember that because it's so true. If we
yep,
stay silent, then there expect no changes, okay? Because we need all of you. We gotta take a village, and I'll say it again.
yep,
It
yep,
takes a village. I can't, with this podcast and there, I cannot do it alone. I need support with
yep,
all of you, all the the former guests and the callers and the listeners made it a total success.
yep.
So I'm on to, and I wanted to share this with you, Pete. I don't know if I mentioned it to you, but on player.fm, this for the best podcast, not the best, but best podcast for 2025. Guess who's in there for animal welfare podcast? And
Really?
yes, and also animal rescue podcast. So everybody, I couldn't have done it without you guys,
That's
and
awesome. That's
and good,
awesome.
yes, goodpods.com got the on animal advocates radio. I got one of the best on the 2025 for animal rights podcast. I'm like, oh my goodness, it brings me happy tears, because I know I've been working hard for this and all these years. And when you see stuff happening like this, our voices do carry for the animals, everyone. And then thanks to everyone out there that's helping
Yep.
me.
And
Isn't
that
that
means
great?
you're doing your job. You're doing a great job,
I'm
So,
doing my best, Pina. I'm
yeah,
doing my
no, no,
best.
you're doing
Yep.
awesome, and congratulations. No, that's great. That's great,
Yep.
Debbie.
And
You
I'm gonna
know,
keep it up. I gotta still get hold of Podbean because they don't have categories like animal welfare or animals. Animals is not in there, so I had to put under news, which is going to be a
right,
lot of competition on that one.
right. Oh,
So
absolutely.
I'm going to get with them and suggest it. I'm not saying they're going to do it, but I think they should because these other podcasts do, with animals and family or animals and pets.
Right.
So I'm going to try it. So, and I got great support from everyone, great super team players out there. A big thank you to all of you who's helping me because I can't do it by myself. It's impossible. I may
Yep.
be a one woman operation where I produce it and schedule it and host it and everything. But when it comes to promoting it, I need all of you guys to do this. And even though I help to promote it also, but like fans of animal rights been with me on Facebook for a very long time, helped me promote it. And they got, I mean, over 300,000, likes and follows. So thank you, fans of Animal Right. There's this list that's huge. Okay, Pina from X, big animal pages and stuff. They know who they are and followers and friends. And a big thank you to all of them. It would take me hours just giving their names out. So,
That's awesome. Well, that's
yep,
great, Debbie.
yep.
That's awesome. So, but
It
yeah,
takes all of us. It takes
yep.
all of us. We
No,
want
it
to
does.
I see all this greed going on, and the profit before animals, and it makes me sick, like they
Right.
don't count. And I'm sick of hearing they're property. No, they're not. They're, animal living beings. They do
Right.
everything we do. They
Yep.
breathe, they see, they have feelings, they sleep,
Uh,
they eat everything.
yep.
Yep,
Our animals are like our children, so they're no
yep,
different than our children,
that's right.
So,
Yep. And
um,
uh, and we're animals too. That's what Michelle just said in the chat room. You're right, Michelle. And thank you
yep.
for tuning in. She's out there working hard also. I mean, she's a big supporter, a great team player. Thank you, Michelle. I hope you call in this evening. I see her sharing all over the place, and if I did as much sharing as she did, I would be in constant jail with Facebook. I've been in jail, Facebook jail so many times, I
Yep.
lost count.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember those days too. So,
But
yep.
I can imagine, and she does. She just works hard at it, and so does Patricia Perry. Paul's Across America, a couple admins, that really helped me out on my groups and pages.
Oh, Michelle's always in jail, she says.
She's a
Join the
repeat
rest.
offender.
Join the rest of us.
She's a repeat offender like I am, and you.
Yep. Yep.
Come on, Facebook, be lenient. Go after them hackers and cyber bullies and all that stuff.
Yep. I know. I
Criminals,
mean, we're
real
trying to do good
criminals.
things. We're trying to do good things.
That's
So.
right.
But I
Yep.
think I got them figured out now. So I haven't been in jail for a long time.
You better
So.
quit bragging. I bet because I get zapped.
Yep.
you know
So
that'll be a
that's a
good
good
one.
thing.
I
Yep.
know.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. So.
But get
But
out there and share everyone, because all these animals' lives, they matter to us, and they're innocent, and they can't call up on this podcast and say,
no,
"Hey, I'm
they
in
can't speak.
trouble or discomfort or I'm in stress." No, they can't do that. We have to do it for them.
Yep, we're their voices. Yep, we're
Yep,
we're speaking for them. We're speaking for Destiny and all animals. Um, I mean, she should have. That's why we wanted to give her a chance. Like I said, I mean, several vets said that we should put her down, but we felt that we owed it to her to at least give her, some chance. Because, I mean, I look at it too, the vet's saying that, with her condition or whatever, euthanize her. But how do you know how long she has to live? She could live maybe a month, maybe three, maybe another year. You don't know. Maybe another five. You know
that's
what I
right.
mean? Who's to say? Who's to say?
That's
So,
right. Give her
we
a
felt,
chance.
yeah, we felt that we needed to give her that chance because of what she went through, and she didn't die in vain. We're gonna, you know,
That's right. And she was in the best hands possible when she left out of here with you and Jeff. You know that?
thank
Because,
you.
yeah, I'm serious because at least she didn't pass away in there. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah,
she
yeah.
got, she got the love and care that she
She
needed
did.
before she left out in this
She
world.
she
And
did. I mean, she knew
yep,
she knew love. She knew love, before she left. She knew what it was to be cared for. Because I can't tell you, like I got up in the morning and I had her on a schedule, because she was on all types of medications. I had her on a special diet of food. Um, so it was like round the clock, So I think like every couple hours I was down there giving her another pill or some kind of food or something um to help her survive or to make her better. So
yep. And you was there. You and Jeff was there. And I know how hurtful and painful it is. But you know what? You're putting up the fight. You're standing up, stepping up to the plate and
yep,
saying, no, this is wrong. And I'm not accepting it. Because they didn't do their part. They were neglecting her, you
yep,
know, and neglect and abuse are crimes and they should
yep.
be punished for crimes.
And well, yeah, I mean, actually, it's a crime in the state of Georgia,
Yep.
so why nothing was done, we have no idea. It doesn't make any sense to us. I mean, we even attended a city council meeting and, nothing happened with that, which I knew nothing was going to come from that, so, but there are some other things in the works. And actually, I was speaking with Holly earlier today, and she was saying that maybe in the future you can have us back on where we
Yes.
can like give you some updates on what has happened or what's going on and so on. So if you'd be more than happy to have us back, we'd be happy
Oh,
to come back.
that's right. Again and again, because I tell all my guests, you're always welcome back here. Once you come through the door of Voices Carry for Animals podcast, you are family, okay? And the more exposure, the
Thank you,
better.
Debbie.
We don't want it to fade out, fizzle away. I've seen so many stuff out there, petitions and stuff with a petition holder. They just keep going for years and years and not download the signatures, you know and everything. So everyone out there, this number here is a nationwide number to find your state representatives or senators. Okay, I got it memorized. They even know my voice when I call, because I'm gonna let my voice be heard. But it's area code 202-224-3121. Okay, and then they're going to ask you for your zip code, and this is during business hours, and I'll tell you in a minute after hours, and then ask to speak to your state representative or senator, ask them, hey, you could be a creator of a law, author, and ask for a constituent bill proposal form. Okay, and you got to have all your ducks in a row to why you want this law to come in effect. You want a sponsor, okay, and then you're going to look for co-sponsors. The federal, like you said, Pina, is more work and everything because I've had different ones on the show. For Horse had like 239 co-sponsors for federal. And guess
Wow.
what? They need 290. So that's more co-sponsors, okay? It didn't even go for a vote for 2023 and 2024, okay?
Wow.
Yeah, and so even with the SAFE Act, it got reintroduced. Okay, we don't only want it introduced, we want to have a vote on the floor and the Senate side to get it passed. Because getting it introduced is not getting it, any laws introduced, in
Right.
effect.
Right.
So, but that federal is something else. So in the after hours, weekends, you can still leave voicemails. You probably won't get through to the state rep or the senator, but talk to their legislative aide and give them the information or ask them whatever bill it is out there. Ask them to co-sponsor or send an email. So. And even with President Trump, you can get a hold of him. You can write emails. Whether you're Republican, Democrat, whatever, we all have to work together, okay, to get anything passed. So if we
Yeah,
have,
well, actually, we ended up sending a letter to Trump, to President Trump. So, we did do that.
okay, you
So,
did do that. Okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah, we
Yes,
did, we did.
make them calls, and that number 202 456 1111. And then you could, I think they're only taking calls from Tuesday through Thursday, 11 to 3 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. So leave
Okay,
messages with him. Please do something about this because it's just an ongoing problem. And it's, even bring up the PACT Act. What is going on? Are they
right.
the judges enforce it? Or are they lesser the charges? Because I'm so sick of hearing, oh, they got probation, got a small fine, and you should see what the abuser's done. I mean, it's like, are you serious? What
Yep,
is going on here? We can't ignore this. We
yep.
have to keep up, so,
Yes,
so
we
we got
do.
to keep it up, so don't give up, everyone. Quitters never win and
Yes,
winners never quit. Okay, that is
yep.
a fact. So we cannot quit.
It's
And
true.
we,
Although there's times where it's like, you think about quitting, but then it's like, that you can't. You know
that's
what I
right.
mean? And I know I'm not a quitter. You know what I mean? I'm not a quitter. I always succeed. So I don't give up that easily.
That's right. You're
So
relentless. You are
yeah,
relentless.
yeah,
And we're
yeah.
going to run the show over somewhat, okay? Because I got it up to two
Sure,
hours. But if you don't mind and you want some callers to call in, okay,
sure.
everyone in the chat room, if you want to interact with, if you want to talk to Pina, there's on the bottom of the right hand corner, there's a phone icon. It'll alert me that you want to come on air. Just try to stay from any noises in the background, radios, TVs, conversations. You're more welcome to come on board. And let everybody know, all you followers out there, thank you so much. Once this show is published, it will alert you on your phone or iPad or tablet, laptop, that the show has been published, okay? And also, it will, when the show's starting up, I don't know if you all knew this or if you see it, that it says Voices Carry for Animals podcast is starting up, and you click join, and you'll come right into the chat room. And I think this is what we call modern technology, everyone. Yeah, it is at its best.
Yep, yep.
Yep, and we gotta win it. So if you wanted to speak to Pina, just press that phone icon at the bottom of your screen of your phone or laptop or whatever, and I'll let you come on in. Because we cannot, the more voices out there, everyone, hey, the stronger we become. We have to be a super team out there, okay? And do it. Let's see some victories. I love doing the victory dance. When them laws came in from here in Florida about Troopers Law and also the Dexter's Law, I wanted to jump to the ceiling. I said, look at this. And that is not from one person. That is a super team, from who started it. I mean, made major news here in Florida about Trooper being tied to a tree, water up on his neck and
Yep.
everything. I mean, it was like major. Uh, Everybody was putting their voice out. So
Yeah,
that's where
I
it led.
remember that story. I remember
Yes.
watching that. Yep, when it was happening. Yep.
Yep.
That was like I was like in shock watching that. Can't couldn't believe that somebody could do that, to that dog.
Oh, isn't that sickening? And I said, you know what? Now, Trooper, he's in a happy home,
Yep.
and he's safe. He don't have to worry about that ever again. But they put the hammer down, and then we're not putting up with it. It's not happening because you wouldn't believe how many people down here in Florida, I mean, was leaving their pets out or leaving them at home when they
Yep.
evacuated. It
Yep.
was so sad. It's like, are
Yep.
you kidding me? Take them with you.
Yep.
I mean,
But it's
hurricanes.
not
Whoa.
it's not just Florida, Debbie. I mean, you hear
Yeah.
people that are moving and they just leave them there and abandon them. So it's not just during
Oh,
storms.
yeah.
It's all the time,
Isn't it sickening? It is
Yes.
sickening.
Yes.
Very sickening. I know the neighbor catty corner in the back when they moved. Her name was Kitty and lived outside. Right, was over here most of a lot. And when they moved, they took the three dogs and left Kitty. No food, no water. And I was like, are
Really.
you kidding me? And they used to work for a Humane Society. So what's wrong with this picture? You know?
Oh my gosh, really?
And I said,
Wow.
what is going, I mean, years back, but I'm like, how could they do that? So I took Kitty in, she passed away several years ago. But, what happens when they're up there in age, but at least she was happy. She was in a happy
Right.
home, TLC, and got love and care. And I'm like, well, how could they do that? What is going on here? And then my one cat was got her from a good friend of mine, and I named her Liberty. She was only like 6 months old at the time,
Wow.
approximate. They left her outside, whoever it was, just abandoned her. So my friend was asking me, can you help me, get her a home? I said, yes, on social media or whatever, because she was afraid her daughter, was allergic to cats and this and that. But yet they got a pit bull and they were good friends sitting on the driveway. Isn't that something? And
Really.
it missed her when she left. Because she was looking all over the place for her. So I said, I'm going to name her Liberty, and she's been happy ever since, okay? I said,
Oh,
you
that's
never have to
awesome.
worry about being abandoned again. And the other cat,
Oh,
I got Victory. I named him Victory because I love seeing victories. So I said, I'm going to name you Victory. It was
wow.
adopted almost 2 years ago, you know,
Wow.
at the Humane Society. So it had the owner, had stage 4 cancer because I looked into it, and now
Right.
they're BFFs. Okay, so it's like,
Wow.
they never have to worry about ever, being abandoned ever again.
Yep.
And yeah, because they have feelings too. Keep them
They,
until the day they pass away. It's not that hard when they get elderly. How would you like getting kicked out if you're the elderly? You
oh,
know?
absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. I mean, I understand certain circumstances, things might happen, there's but I mean, just to move and leave, I
Oh
don't know. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense to me,
no.
But let me tell you, Debbie, do you want to know how many animals we have?
How many?
We have 5 cats. Now we have 5 dogs. I mean, Destiny would have been
That's
6,
off
and
the.
we have 2 rabbits. So,
You are a true animal lover and warrior. Okay, I
yep.
mean that is awesome. Yep.
So, So
Yep.
yeah,
There's,
we have five, five, and two.
that that is wonderful. You love hearing that because you know they're in a TLC home. They get the care and love they deserve.
Yep.
You know, and all of them should get that. I mean, you know, and the ones in the shelters, everyone go in there and shop. You know, or don't shop,
Don't
adopt.
shop, adopt,
Yep. Yep.
exactly. And we actually we did all of ours are rescues, and we just rescued one. We picked her up, Chloe, on Monday. We picked her up on Monday. No, Tuesday, I'm sorry. So we just got her Tuesday. Um, and she has kennel cough and heartworm, so we have to keep her away from the other animals. But
Mm,
she's as sweet as can be, as sweet as can be. So like you said, adopt, don't shop, because there's such great
yep.
animals at the shelter. And they're so overcrowded that they need people to step up, or even the rescues,
Yep.
um, Paw Angels, they do a phenomenal job, Holly. So they have plenty of animals that need to, be rescued in Calhoun, and they're always looking for fosters. So even if you can foster, if you can adopt, that's even better. But yeah, I mean, these animals, they need a home,
Yes,
and
they do.
we only wish, you know, like my husband and I went on Saturday, to the shelter, and I hate going because it just breaks my heart seeing all these animals there, because I wish I can save every single one, and unfortunately we can't,
Yep.
um, but my husband, like I told you, we have 12 animals right now. He wants more. I don't know if I can I don't know if I can handle any more. So, actually, I think he wants to start a rescue eventually,
yep.
it looks like that's where it's heading, So, because we can't, like I said, we can't save them all. We'd like to, but there's got to be more people out there to, adopt and foster.
That's right. Because I remember Sugar Bear when she got adopted. She's Alaskan Malamute. It was back in 2019, and I seen all the dogs in there, and it was like so heartbreaking. It's like they all deserve TLC homes, you know.
Right.
And I said, look at this. And you look at them, and it's depressing. You say, "Oh, I want to adopt all of you," you know, or to take. And I looked at them. I had something that day when I was taking Sugar Bear, and they was all standing up, looking at me, you know, on that row. And I looked at them. I said, "I hope you all find TLC homes." You know, that's because you know you at that moment you want everybody come in here. And the other one I had my eyes on, he got adopted the same day, and I mean the same
Really.
time as Sugar Bear. Yeah, and I said, well, and I found out the story. You know, they said they think because she had puppies, they abandoned her. Okay, and I was like, oh, isn't that sickening? And I said,
That
when she
is.
came in there, I said, you never have to worry about being abandoned again,
Oh.
never. And I said, I'm your new mommy, okay? Because when she came in, she was looking at me like, who are you and where
Who
am
are
I
you? Right.
at?
And how many do you have, Debbie?
Two cats and one dog.
Oh,
Yep,
two. Okay, two cats and one
yep,
dog. Okay.
yep. So I
Well,
said,
that's
but
great.
and back in the years, it's always been, you know, adopt.
Yep.
And yeah, and so one of the other cats, he passed away, but he was living on the street, you know, and he was
Right.
young. He was a barn cat where one of my friends, you know, was feeding her horses. They had, you know, run out of space and was living there with all the horses, right? And so I named him Justice, and he passed away a couple of years ago. But it was so sad. I know where you're.
Aw,
I mean,
sorry.
so I got one of the guest bedrooms in loving memory, you know, of
Yep.
the ones because it's been what two dogs and three cats that have passed away, but they were up in age. You know, Justice
Yep.
was the youngest, but and Bear was the first one, and that's how I
Oh,
got the name
I
Mama
had a
Bear.
bear. I had a bear too, a little Pomeranian. And it's funny you say about the bedroom because we have a bedroom with all of our past animals. So, like Jeff had a dog, and I have my bear in there. And then actually, Destiny, she's still out in the living room. We haven't put
Oh
her in the
yeah.
room with the others yet. So, yeah,
Okay. But I
she's
mean, it helps you out, don't it, with pictures and everything, and
yeah, yep,
because the memories is not going to go away. We're never going to forget about them. They're all have a
no,
special place in our heart, and it's everlasting. So you never
yep,
forget about them, and
it
and
is.
that's what
But
we
but I
got to.
mean,
Yep.
I have a hard time playing like her videos and stuff. Like I can't play the videos and watch. I haven't gotten to that point yet, because I'll just start to cry. So, I can look at her pictures, but watching her move and stuff like that, you know, I can't do that yet, you know.
Yeah, it's so fresh in your memory. It's just
Yeah,
March, and it's very hard, especially what she went through.
yeah, yeah,
And how you didn't get no help, what you was supposed to. That's their job. They should have been fired right on the spot.
yeah.
Get some people in there that care. Animal lovers, that's
Yep.
what they need. Not just
Yeah,
coming
well,
in for a
no,
paycheck.
exactly. You
You're,
just took the words out of my mouth. Exactly.
yep,
Exactly.
yep,
So it's just heartbreaking. So,
yep.
but
Jeff
that's
entered the
Destiny's
studio.
story. He's
Jeff, do
back
you want
in.
to? Yeah, you want to speak on air for a few minutes? There's a phone icon at the bottom right hand corner. Love to have you on air. And Pina, your wife has been doing such a tremendous. What's you guys been through? Out there fighting. Don't give up. Because if we give up, we automatically lose for the animals. Okay, and I
Yeah.
won't do that. I will keep going, whatever it takes. If if you believe in this and say, hey, I am a true warrior and I'm not going to give up because that's what a true warrior is. They
Yeah.
won't give up under no circumstances. So, Jeff, if you want to speak on air, you're more than welcome to. Um, and that's Pina's husband. They went through hell and back with this. I mean, it's so unacceptable and sad. It's like, how can there be so many cold and heartless people out there? What is going on? This animal abuse and neglect and cruelty and all of it needs to stop. I've seen it every day when I'm on that social media, and I'm like,
Yeah.
from every angle, and 484 shows this evening, hitting all angles, and there's some I haven't even had yet. I need one on wolves. There's so many of them, and I see this stuff happening. It's like, what is going on here? We all share this earth together, animals and humans, right? And we got to make the best of it
Yep.
because, and they deserve every right to be here more than we do. And there's so many of them out there that's been here way before our times. So many of them. So give them their animal rights. Grant them, not ignore them, and kick them to the curb and think they're property. I wish they get rid of that word property
Yep.
because that's sad. So. But
Yep. And
anyway,
it's
Jeff, if you're there, if you're listening in, okay, here we go. Sue Bloom. Here we go.
is
Okay,
this on?
Sue. Go ahead. You're live and on the air. Welcome to Animal Advocates Radio, Voices Carry for Animals. How are you? Thank you for joining us. Can you hear me?
I can't hear her.
Yeah, Sue. Send me. I hit the invite. Let me see something. I'm still a newbie at this. Okay, so 3 months. I'm still in the newbie level, Pina, for 24 more hours. But Sue, can you send me another invite at the bottom of the screen where the phone icon is? Maybe I hit it too late. You're more than welcome to come on board. Go right ahead. Here we go. Okay, I invited you. Let me see if it says that you are live and on air. Okay, can you hear me? I don't know what's going on here, but she should be coming on. I don't know if you're talking from a Bluetooth right there, Pina? from
Yeah,
the
I'm on my
ear.
Bluetooth. Yeah. And you
Yeah,
can hear me fine?
yeah, you sound real good. I mean, the audio is great, so
And
um
Jeff's back
I got to
on.
let everybody else
Oh,
know
I think,
because
wait, is Jeff on the phone or no?
no, he
Okay.
Jeff, if you can send me press hit the microphone icon. Okay, in the lower right hand corner, or maybe it's a phone. But the one that's listening from a laptop or a tablet, iPad, you could use your headphones with mic or earbuds with mic to interact with the guest if you're listening from them. Or, and Pina says she was using her Bluetooth
Yeah, I have
earpiece,
my Bluetooth
and it
earpiece.
sounds
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
she's on your. You're on the cell phone, Sue. Do
Do you
you
have a
see?
headpiece, Sue?
Yeah. Do you have a head? Do you have the uh, Bluetooth or the earbuds with mic or the microphone or the
Wireless
head?
earbuds or something?
Yes. Yes. Because usually when you're downloading, you could talk right into this show, from your cell phone. But go ahead, Sue, and see. We'll see what's going on. Yeah. Go ahead. Just yeah. Hit the. Here we go. Okay, well, I see you invite. Okay, Sue.
Yes,
Oh,
There
there
she
you
I'm
is.
here.
are.
Hi,
I figured out
Sue.
technology in
You
10
did it.
seconds or less. Oh,
Hey, Sue, we're all newbies at this. Okay, I'm still on the newbie level, so until I become. But welcome aboard.
well, thank
This is
you.
great.
Thank you. I love the
Yes.
show. I love the comments that are coming up. I've known Pina and Jeff for a few years, and I mean, when she sent me the pictures of Destiny and told me the story, I just cried. I mean, and the same thing, Pina. When I look at Destiny's pictures or watch a video, I have to stop it because
Yeah.
it chokes me up. And you know me. But anyway, I've reiterated this through some text. Destiny had a horrible life. I don't think that little girl was ever loved. She was used. She was abused. And if anything good that came out of Destiny's life was the fact that two loving people, Pina and Jeff Losawyer, they took her in, not for one day, not for 2 days. They adopted her right after the second day. And Pina and Jeff just loved on her and loved on her. And she was the happiest dog. I mean, seeing the photos from when Pina and Jeff got her until, when she was going for surgery and such. I mean, she had a smile on her face. Now I have a lab and I've sent Pina a photo. I go, doesn't she look like Destiny? Cause they're both white. And, and the thing is I'm probably going to cry. Damn it, Pina. Is
Sorry.
the fact that that little girl left this world knowing what love was. And if it wasn't for Pina and Jeff, that baby would never have known love. Never. So,
Thanks,
Pina
Sue.
and Jeff, I know you're listening. You're just, I just think the world of you. I mean, Pina's like my sister. And, and it's just amazing the love that those of us that have animals and treat them well and or take in animals and give them a better home, it just it's the right thing to do. And today there is so much hate in the world, and animal abuse has been going on for a long time, but there is no need for it to happen. I mean,
No.
what type of person can take a little animal that, oh, they may bark, they may growl. but then they're probably going to put a muzzle on it. I mean, all these different things. And it's just like, they can't be good people themselves. They can't lead a good life and have good relationships with other people if they treat an animal like this, a helpless animal. And so, when Pina wanted to go forward with this, I'm like, I'm in, Pina, whatever you need. And
Yeah, no,
so
Sue's been my backbone throughout this whole thing. She's helped me quite a bit with getting the petition up and sending me stuff like with representatives, newspapers, and articles, and so she's been a blessing to me. So I love you dearly.
I
So.
know you do. The check's in the mail, Pina.
You rock, Sue. You rock. I
Well,
agree with you.
thank
I'll
you.
tell you.
But
Yes,
yeah,
that's teamwork. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And it has been teamwork. We've been, she's done, her part, and then I'm moving forward on the other end, and then you have Holly and, with her volunteers that are working on other stuff, locally there. So everybody's doing a little something, so, um,
absolutely. I mean, all the
Oh
help that
yes.
you can get.
yeah,
And
yeah,
as Pina had also brought up earlier in the program, I know Michelle had asked, we did send a letter to President Trump. I did a lot of research on it, and you don't send an email. It has to be on non-letterhead. It has to be on a white sheet of paper. You can send like 3 photos along if you want. In addition to the letter should be short and to the point. And so that's what Pina did. She sent it
yeah,
to President Trump. So, it's not like he reads his mail every day. It'll take
right.
some time to get there, but maybe we just need to flood President Trump's, mail actually.
Yes.
And he's going,
Yes.
he'll say, where did all these purple envelopes come from? But yeah,
Yeah,
so,
yep,
we're persistent and we're not giving up. So,
no,
anyone that can sign the petition, please do that. It takes to go to the federal level. We need
a hundred
100,000
thousand, yeah,
votes, or
yep,
excuse me, signatures. And that's just for them to even maybe consider it.
yep,
So it's, and I think Michelle also mentioned that, or maybe Mama Cat did, but um, it's like, yeah, it's like if you're going to go door to door and get signatures, if you're running for city council or mayor of your town. So it's an uphill battle, but we're determined, and Pina and
yeah.
Jeff are wonderful, and the new doggies, I can't wait to meet them. And, I just, I just have the utmost praise for Pina and Jeff. And
Thank
Debbie,
you.
you're doing a great job. I think your podcast is wonderful.
Thank you
Yes,
so much.
yes,
Thank you for
yep,
your uplifting and inspiring words. It keeps me going. I'm not giving up. I'm doing my
No,
best. I
we
yep.
can
can't
You
do
never
it
do a great
alone.
job, Debbie. You
never
do.
give
Thank
up.
you.
All
Yep.
right, I love you guys. Thank you for your
Love you
support.
too.
Thank you for
Yeah.
helping Pina and Jeff.
Love
And
you too,
we'll keep
Sue.
the good
Thank
fight.
you.
Yeah,
Yep,
and
yep,
so I'm gonna have him back on with Holly, okay?
Okay.
And again, and thanks for to accept my friendship today, and check out Voices Care for Animals podcast, and I got a Voices Care for Animals support group on Facebook. It helps out animals on death row, dogs, cats, and and plus petitions and the promos for the shows. So everyone, I
Sure.
thank all of you for that. So check out Facebook or X, so
yep.
yep,
Absolutely. I'm on there. Well, thank you very
yep.
much for having me on. Have a wonderful evening, and thanks to all of you that tuned in.
Yes, thank you, and thank you for being a part of it. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
Hey, and feel free to come in any of these shows because the more voices out there, everybody that's speaking out for the animals and action takers, the better. That's our
Yep.
multitask. Come over and help this one, that one. I do what I can, but all the former guests are always invited just to come in. They'll get a notification on their phone. I said, please, keep following me and everything. So next time, Pina, I just send you an email invitation. Click, you're in. You don't have to
Okay.
go down
Okay.
to keep everything, and you can share the shows after it's been published tonight. It's going to get out there. Okay, it's going to
Great.
fly. So this is great. Even on YouTube. Be a subscriber. Voices Carry for Animals podcast and also Animal Advocates Radio podcast. The producer for All About Animals Radio, they closed down, and he thought of me and he transferred it over to me, his
Oh,
YouTube
that's
channel.
awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and we were friends and we're still in contact and everything. But luckily, it was 78 videos, interviews that he had on there, and I was one of the interviews, and that's something by Erica
Really?
Salvamini. Yes, the Rising Lion, and this was like a year and a half ago, but it's on there. And so I said, hey, that's teamwork. I'm glad you didn't delete the channel because that's all your videos. So I'm glad you thought of him, and I hope he comes back someday because he's a very good, he's a true warrior. So I'm trying to talk him into coming back, but it's going to take some time.
Right.
So,
Oh, well,
yep,
hopefully he does, you know?
yep, yep.
Hopefully he does.
But you will get
So,
alerted on your phone on every show, okay?
okay.
It'll say Voices Carry for Animals podcast is start up. Click to join. Bam, you're in there, okay? And plus, I do
Okay.
all the promos all over the place. And then once this show is published, it will also alert you on your phone or laptop or tablet, iPad that the show has been published. So then you'll get alert then. This is modern technology at its best. Isn't that
That's
great?
awesome. Yeah, no, that's
Yes.
awesome. That's awesome. And I mean, I can't
Yep.
thank you enough, Debbie, for having, me on the show. And I mean, I appreciate
Anytime.
everything that you do. I appreciate everything that you do. I mean, you've done a lot. You've given me a lot of helpful information. Um, and it's just been great. And again, like Sue and like Debbie say, please sign the petition. We're at 3,500 signatures, which is awesome. Um, but the way I see it is there's so many people out there that love animals. There's so many that are being neglected and harmed. And I mean, there's so many groups and I mean, if we just got everybody involved to just sign, we can get further,
That's
So,
right.
that's the way I see it is that we just need to, um, get it out there and just keep sharing, just keep sharing and sharing. Same thing like you said with your podcast, Debbie, that's how you're going to get it out there and get known, so the same
That's
thing for
right.
the petition,
That's
if
right. I
everybody
can't.
can
Yep.
sign and
Everybody
share, that would be awesome.
share, share, share for the mama bear. Okay. That's what we.
That's right. That's right. So
Because a
without a
mama
doubt.
bear does care. We have to work together, everyone. Teamwork rocks and teamwork wins. In order to see change, we got to take action. No questions asked, okay? If you do nothing, expect no changes because
Sorry.
that's the way it goes. We can't look
Ding
the other way.
dong.
There she is. There's the mama cat. Meow. Pina,
Mama
that's one of
cat.
my. Yeah, that's it. She's a mama cat.
I
Mama cat,
couldn't
what are you
find
doing?
I couldn't find the doorbell.
I gotta get one. Meow. Peter, you know what? She's got a heart of gold, okay? She takes care of what, over 100 cats, colony cats,
Hear me?
Yep,
and out in Colorado, and he's over 100, and that's how she got the name Mama Cat. Because when they see her, they come running to give her a standing ovation when she has that food and water. Right, Mama Cat? You're
that's
awesome.
right. Well,
Yep.
I wanted to share that I also have um, Destiny's story, but her name was Cindy Lou. And when I very first got into helping feral cats, I was feeding so many colonies at that time. It's gone down since then, but it, this one in particular was behind the Red Cross shelter. And it was a scary place to be, not just for humans, but for all them cats that were back there. And this one particular day I was out there feeding and this kitty come like dragging herself up to where I was putting the food out. And I heard a noise and turned and looked and I was sickened by what I saw and sickened by the smell of her. And she was rotting. She was dying.
Mm.
Oh my gosh.
And
Oh,
she was so friendly, but she was so scared. Um, she wouldn't let me pick her up, and I was afraid to try because she looked so frail.
oh,
And so I went back the next morning, early in the morning, with the trap and a pillow inside of it because I knew if I could just get her in there, that would be the hardest part. And so I was able to get her. I took her to the vet and she had very, very long hair, real long hair. And they ended up having to shave her entire body and she had been bitten by, it looked like dog bites. And they were
Whoa.
just everywhere. Her poor little body was just covered and she was so weak and all she wanted was to just snuggle. And the poor little thing, I mean, I would have done anything to save that cat. And she wasn't mine. And
oh.
she opened my heart, or she ripped it open, I guess I could say.
Yep.
She was my first loss, my first, I was so proud that I was taking her off the street and I was going to get her help. And then when I lost her, it was just devastating. And
Devastating.
I
Yeah.
swore, that's it. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
It hurts. It rips your heart out. And it still does when I talk about her
Yep.
because, like I said, that was 8 years ago.
Wow.
And
Mm.
Wow.
it, she came up in my memory thing today and it was kind of strange that we're talking about this again, but, it gave me strength after I got past the major hurt of everything. And it was her eyes that kept me going. It was like if she could survive that long waiting for somebody to find her so she didn't die alone, I can
Oh,
get off my ass and I can do everything I can to help any other
do
cat
more.
that
Yep.
I find. And I
Yep.
go looking for them. I drive the alleys. I look under those trailers. I go in the places people don't want to go because that's
Wow.
where they hide. They don't want to be seen either. They may have a broken leg that they're dragging behind them, but they don't want people to see them because people is what did it to them.
Right.
Yep. They
Wow.
lose faith.
You
Wow.
know,
That's the
and
sad part.
and people
And
think it's a cat. What's the big deal? They can catch a mouse, they can catch a bird. They don't. When
yep.
they are a pet, they sit where you dumped them. They cry and they cry and they go back there. No matter how bad the treatment was, they will go back looking for you for months and months until they finally either die or give up. And that's
Oh,
what people need to remember. That's what happens to these animals. They're not all saved. We can't save them all.
no.
We only have so many people on this planet to
Yeah.
do it.
Yep.
And I'm not trying to get everybody bawling in here, but the reality of it is they do not make it on their own out there. They just don't. And
Yep.
It's
thank
a
God for
sad.
people in rescues because otherwise we wouldn't save the ones we do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. Just like you said, I mean, Destiny changed us, and after Destiny passed, my husband and I were like, "That's it. I don't want to foster. I don't want to adopt any other dogs or anything." After that, because it was, I mean, it changed us.
Yep.
It really changed us. But then we came across Magnum, and he's our gunshot survivor. He was shot 3 times,
Ah,
and I just happened to come across this post, and I showed it to my husband. Didn't know where the dog was or anything, never thinking that he was in Georgia. And the next morning, my husband asked me, "Oh, send me that post." And I knew what he was up, what he was up to, and we ended up adopting him and saving him, because we felt bad. We needed to give him a chance, and he's a totally different dog, just like Destiny when she came here. Um, she was, so withdrawn. So he was the same way. He's a totally different dog today. I mean, it's amazing. You show these dogs a little love and care, or I shouldn't say dogs, these animals a little love and care, and they're a whole different animal after that. They forget everything that happened to them in the past. And like I said before, they love you unconditionally.
they
So
do.
yeah, they do. They do. So, and I'm sorry you had to go through what you had to go through with Cindy Lou, you
I
know.
am too, but like you said, it changed me.
Mhm.
It changed my whole perspective of, what they deal with out there because, hearing it, and seeing it are two different things. And trapping perfectly healthy cats and getting them fixed is one thing,
Yep.
but finding them when they're on the verge of death
Yep.
and trying to save them, it's just a
Yeah.
whole different thing. But
Well, exactly. I mean, Magnum was on the he was on the urgent list. He was on the kill list, He was going to be euthanized. So,
Mm.
we're like, no, we needed to, I mean, and actually Jeff wanted to adopt him in honor of Destiny. So that's what we did. We adopted him in honor of Destiny, in her
oh,
memory. So,
yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
And
Yep.
then now he's in a TLC home. He never has to worry about being shot again. You know what I'm
Nope.
saying? And he's lucky to be alive. And they're going to
Yeah.
euthanize him. What is going on? It's like
Yeah.
there's zero excuses for this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's terrible.
It is.
What did they do to ever deserve that? They don't. I mean,
No.
it's totally unacceptable. Everyone, it's totally injustice. I mean, it's unbelievable what's going on, and I don't want to hear no excuses for it. Period. So Mama Cat, Aloha wanted to speak for a minute. You can stay on there, okay?
okie
Because I'm gonna
dokie.
be shutting it down. Aloha, are you there?
Hello,
Hi,
hello.
Yes.
Marilyn.
Hi, greeting.
Hello.
Hi. And in loving memory of Destiny, Jeff and Tina, in loving memory of Destiny, as
Thank
well as
you.
Cindy Lou, Mama Cat. And I want to say that I'd rather hear the sounds of nature than hear oncoming traffic.
Yep.
I'd move from the big city to the small town out here. I'm in the Appalachians. So. Just want to say both you and Jeff rock, Peanut.
Thank
And
you.
Yep.
Thank
Debbie,
you.
congratulations. And I'm
Thank you.
glad you've gave many an opportunity to speak abroad, not just nationwide, abroad, globally.
Yep.
Yes,
Let's see federal. Let's start with the state, but go to federal because
Yep.
the animal's so
Exactly.
well
That's the
deserved.
plan.
Yep. Let's see it
You
happen,
got
and
you
we
got to
can make it
start
happen.
somewhere, right? We got to
definitely.
start somewhere. So,
Yep.
I agree.
Yep.
so.
Somebody's got to start it, and then get that teamwork going, sponsors, co-sponsors, and all that, and we got it. And then the final vote, and hey, we could do it. We could do it.
Yep.
It's not that difficult. It is
Yes.
not that difficult. Okay, and we got to at least try. We cannot just give up and say no, that's not going to happen. Yes, it can happen. There's enough of us out
Yeah,
there
because
standing together and speaking
right,
out.
because if you sit back and do nothing, nothing's going to happen,
No,
So
Agreed.
you have to step up and take charge,
that's right.
so and
True.
make it happen.
Because if
Yep.
And
Facebook is going to put you in jail and City Hall is going to only give you a minute to speak, that's not enough for the animals.
no.
No,
No,
exactly.
no.
Exactly.
Where's Michelle at? Is she in Facebook jail?
Oh,
Michelle, I'm looking for you. Where are you in Facebook jail again?
oh my goodness. But I'll give others a chance to speak because that was
and I,
short and
okay, well, thank you for
Well,
calling in there,
thank
thank you.
you. Thank
and give
you.
Harry a big hug from me, okay?
You got it.
And everyone, I'm going to be closing it down. So I was looking for Michelle, but I can't find her. So she might be in Facebook jail again. And I'm laughing, and I might be there myself when I get back.
Gonna say
Hopefully
that.
not, Debbie. Hopefully not.
But anyway, I want to thank you, Pina, for coming on this evening, and another great show, so informative and bringing awareness, and everyone to step up to the plate and sign that petition, and share it. Also, give her your best ultimate help here, because she needs it. The image Jeff can't do it alone, okay? And I want to
Thank
thank
you.
Sue for calling in this evening. And all of you are always welcome back to any of these shows. You're welcome to speak on air and everything. And Mama Cat and Aloha, I can't thank you all for all your support.
You're welcome.
A lot of energy comes through these shows, and that's what I love about them too. I mean, the energy's there, the motivation, just being here and working together. That's the main thing. So anyway, next Thursday, and Pina, I'm going to begin with you and Holly, and we schedule a date to come back on air, okay? And I will
Okay.
tell Holly, hey, what happened this evening? I was, totally understand, no problem at all, and looking forward to having her on from Paul Angels, okay, Incorporated,
Yep. And
and
then hopefully maybe we can have Jeff on too.
yeah,
So
next time, Jeff, if you can hear us now, we'll have you on.
exactly.
But Mama Cat, I
Exactly.
wanted to thank you. And next Thursday, everyone, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Mountain, and 4 o'clock Pacific. We're going to have Doll Stanley back. She's from In Defense of Animals, Justice for Animals. I'm going to welcome her back. And you can listen in worldwide, everyone, and share these shows. And once I get them published, all the followers out there will get a notification that it is published. Okay, and go on to Voices Carry for Animals .podbean.com, and they give me a host website. Also, it's going to be on PodServe and .fm, or yeah, PodServe, and then also Animal Advocates Radio, so you can subscribe to that one. And it's going to shoot out to be on 27 podcast websites or platforms. Isn't that wonderful?
That's awesome. That's
I
great.
am jumping to the mama bear's doing the happy dance, okay? Right, Mama Cat? We're gonna do the happy dance.
We're doing it.
And we're doing it.
We
Okay.
are.
Yes, and we're going to keep it up. Mama Cat's filled in for me several times when the guests had emergencies or whatever, and she's been interviewed several times. Got to have her back on because she's a great guest also. All of them, it's just so informative, inspiring to have them on. I can't thank them enough for making Voices Care for Animals podcast a total success, everyone. And I love it, and I can't thank you all enough for it. But Pina, I'll be in contact with you to bring you and Holly on. Okay.
Sounds great, Debbie. And
Yep.
again, thank you for everything that you do. We appreciate you more than you know. So,
Hey, I do my best. I can't do it alone. It takes teamwork all the way. Okay.
yep, it
And to
does.
see them strong victories because we have to work together because we are all better and stronger together than apart. Okay, when
Yep,
we multitask, crossover, hey, we double in strength and triple in strength and quadruple in strength. It takes all of us. So but anyway, Mama Cat, we are ready here, and I hope everyone joins us next week. Feel free to join in anytime. Thank you all that's listening from the web. Deb is on the web, okay?
Deb on the web.
Coming live stream from Podbean Podcast app. How's that one, Mama Cat?
Oh my God, Debbie's gonna start rapping. She got the animal rap going.
I'm gonna see. Hey, you're cracking me up.
Coffee in hand, united we stand. Tell animals to cut the rules and cross the lines. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody, and
good
thank you
night.
all for tuning in. This has been another informative show. And get out there and sign that petition, okay, everyone, and spread the word on X and Facebook and LinkedIn, whatever you can get it on, get it out there for us and help us.
Absolutely.
It doesn't cost anything to help make changes. Zero, okay? It takes zero. So, and zero, and to be kind, it costs nothing, okay? So we have to do this, okay? So here we go. Thank you, everyone. And I'm so
Thank
glad that
you.
you all have tuned in. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Good
Good night,
Thank you for
everybody.
tuning.
Thank
Good night.
you. Good night.
Thanks for tuning in. Voices Care for Animals podcast.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, Debbie.
Night, night. Have a good evening. God bless you all.